M. de Baville said nothing, but nodded his head, and took up the portfolio.
"Now I think of it, you can do better," said Danglars. "How do you mean?" "The receipt of M. de Monte Cristo is as good as money. Take it to Rothschild's or Laffitte's, and they will take it off your hands at once." "What, though payable at Rome?" "Certainly, it will only cost you a discount of 5,000 or 6,000 francs. The receiver started back. "Ma foi," he said, "I prefer waiting till tomorrow." "What a proposition!" "I thought, perhaps," said Danglars with supreme impertinence, "that you had a deficiency to make up?" "Indeed," said the receiver. "And if that were the case it would be worth while to make some sacrifice." "Thank you, no, sir." "Then it will be tomorrow." "Yes, but without fail." "Ah, you're laughing at me. Send tomorrow at 12, and the bank shall be notified." "I will come myself." "Better still, since it will afford me the pleasure of seeing you." They shook hands. "By the way," said M. de Baville, "are you not going to the funeral of poor Mademoiselle de Villefort, which I met on my road here?" "No," said the banker, "I have appeared rather ridiculous since that affair of Benedetto, so I remain in the background." "Bah, you are wrong." "How were you to blame in that affair? Listen, when one bears an irreproachable name, as I do, one is rather sensitive." "Everybody pities you, sir, and, above all, Mademoiselle Danglars." "Poor Eugenie," said Danglars, "do you know she is going to embrace a religious life?" "No. Alas, it is unhappily but too true." The day after the event, she decided on leaving Paris with a nun of her acquaintance. They are gone to seek a very strict convent in Italy or Spain. "Oh, it is terrible." And M. de Baville retired with this exclamation, after expressing acute sympathy with the father. But he had scarcely left before Danglars, with an energy of action those can alone understand who have seen Robert Macaire represented by Frederick, exclaimed, "Fool!" Then, enclosing Monte Cristo's receipt in a little pocket-book, he added, "Yes, come at 12 o'clock, I shall then be far away." Then he double-locked his door, emptied all his drawers, collected about 50,000 francs in banknotes, burned several papers, left others exposed to view, and then commenced writing a letter which he addressed. To Madame la Baronne Danglars. Frédéric Lemaitre, French actor, 1800 to 1876. Robert Macaire is the hero of two favorite melodramas, Chien de Montargis and Chien d'Aubry, and the name is applied to bold criminals as a term of derision. "I will place it on her table myself tonight," he murmured. Then taking a passport from his drawer he said, "Good, it is available for 2 months longer." Chapter 105. The Cemetery of Père Lachaise.
M. de Belleville had indeed met the funeral procession which was taking Valentine to her last home on earth.
The weather was dull and stormy. A cold wind shook the few remaining yellow leaves from the boughs of the trees, and scattered them among the crowd which filled the boulevards.
M. de Villefort, a true Parisian, considered the cemetery of Père Lachaise alone worthy of receiving the mortal remains of a Parisian family. There alone the corpses belonging to him would be surrounded by worthy associates.
He had therefore purchased a vault, which was quickly occupied by members of his family. On the front of the monument was inscribed, "The families of Saint Marin and Villefort," for such had been the last wish expressed by poor Renée, Valentine's mother. The pompous procession therefore wended its way towards Père Lachaise from the Faubourg Saint-Honoré. Having crossed Paris, it passed through the Faubourg du Temple, then leaving the exterior boulevards, it reached the cemetery. More than 50 private carriages followed the 20 mourning coaches, and behind them more than 500 persons joined in the procession on foot. These last consisted of all the young people whom Valentine's death had struck like a thunderbolt, and who, notwithstanding the raw chilliness of the season, could not refrain from paying a last tribute to the memory of the beautiful, chaste, and adorable girl, thus cut off in the flower of her youth. As they left Paris, an equipage with 4 horses, at full speed, was seen to draw up suddenly. It contained Monte Cristo. The Count left the carriage and mingled in the crowd who followed on foot. Chateau Renaud perceived him and immediately alighting from his coupe, joined him. The Count looked attentively through every opening in the crowd. He was evidently watching for someone, but his search ended in disappointment. "Where is Morel?" he asked. "Do either of these gentlemen know where he is?" "We have already asked that question," said Chateau Renaud, "for none of us has seen him." The Count was silent, but continued to gaze around him. At length they arrived at the cemetery. The piercing eye of Monte Cristo glanced through clusters of bushes and trees, and was soon relieved from all anxiety, for seeing a shadow glide between the yew trees, Monte Cristo recognized him whom he sought. One funeral is generally very much like another in this magnificent metropolis. Black figures are seen scattered over the long white avenues. The silence of earth and heaven is alone broken by the noise made by the crackling branches of hedges planted around the monuments. Then follows the melancholy chant of the priests, mingled now and then with a sob of anguish, escaping from some woman concealed behind a mass of flowers. The shadow Monte Cristo had noticed passed rapidly behind the tomb of Abelard and Eloise, placed itself close to the heads of the horses belonging to the hearse, and following the undertaker's men, arrived with them at the spot appointed for the burial. Each person's attention was occupied. Monte Cristo saw nothing but the shadow, which no one else observed. Twice the Count left the ranks to see whether the object of his interest had any concealed weapon beneath his clothes.